Welcome back, everyone, once again to a brand new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Ron.
We're covering like a new thing again. That's pretty weird.
Yeah. Semi-new, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, independent franchise. I consider that. So, it's only the 34th fucking film in this never-ending saga. I read that this is the 34th film in the MCU, and I wanted to just like go walk off a bridge. Like, y'all need to calm the fuck down.
Yeah, but that's the 34th since 2008.
We gotta wipe out some of these. Like, I'm gonna get that cable time travel device thing and just like stop the Eternals from happening and just like stopping some of the like shittier movies.
I want it just so I can power slide or whatever he calls it. Computer slide left 3 meters.
Yep.
Does he do that in Deadpool 2?
I do not remember. I just watched it a few days ago, but I've slept since then, so it's gone.
I haven't watched it since it came out. I saw it in theaters. I haven't watched it since then.
You should have watched it again before I mean, granted, they didn't have any of the fucking characters back, so it doesn't matter. But I like Deadpool too.
I do too. A lot of people don't, but I do.
I think Domino is a great character.
I think Domino is the best part of that movie.
Yeah, I would agree. How's it been going, dude?
Been going pretty good since the last time we talked. I have been sick. I have been burnt to a crisp outside. I am now sloughing my skin off as we speak. And
nice.
My allergies are in full swing. So I can't talk, I can't breathe, and I'm going to be clearing my throat a lot.
Nice.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, fortunately nobody else can hear us speak. So
Hashtag phlegm.
Yeah, it's been rough. I feel like it's really feeling like if I'm not sick, you're sick, and then we're just
what's weird?
Just constant shit show.
What's weird is my daughter got sick, started runny nose, fever, and that's it. Like that's all it is for like 2 days. Just runny nose and fever. There's no cough with it. There's no other symptoms. You're just tired because of the fever, I presume. And you have the runny nose, and then it just goes away after a couple of days. So she had that. Then my wife got it.
My wife
got it. And then I got it. And Nathan's just been trucking along, man. He hasn't got it at all.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's got a healing factor, dude.
Fucking typhoid Nathan running around my house.
Typhoid Nathan. You make like a note of that so he can always make his his gamer tag Typhoid Nathan. Sounds like a fucking Deadpool villain. I think Typhoid Mary was an actual villain in like Daredevil.
Really?
So, yeah, I think so. I will fact check.
Figured to be an X-Man that Apocalypse makes into Pestilence or something.
Typhoid Mary, comic book character. Yeah, first appearance Daredevil 254.
But that was a real person. You can't do that.
Tell that to Marvel, dude.
I mean, they were a real asshole. They knew what they were doing. They kept doing it anyway, but...
Well, tell that to Marvel. She's a character. All right. Well, we are going to be talking about Deadpool and Wolverine.
What?
Which we're excited to talk about.
I watched the wrong movie, Jeff.
Well, I hate to break it to you. We're still going to talk about it. I'm just gonna I'm gonna now. You did the TED Talk, like the TED Talk last week. Now it's my turn to have a TED Talk.
Good, because I can't talk or breathe. This is perfect.
So lots and lots of spoilers for Deadpool and Wolverine coming up. So if you have not seen it, circle back around until you've watched it.
To be fair, though, we're only gonna spoil what we remember because this movie is dense as fuck.
Oh yeah. They had like 6 fucking writers on it, and there's a joke in the background or being spoken nonstop for the entire like fucking 2-hour runtime.
Oh yeah, the whole time.
And although I had several things spoiled for me just because people on the internet are fucking assholes, and also the way that websites work, they're ran by fucking assholes, so that's cool. And some shit that Marvel pulled that kind of pissed me off that led to me getting some of the spoilers, so that's cool. Yeah, I'll bitch about that later. Once we're officially past the spoiler wall and everything, but I still really liked it. But before we get to the movie review, Ron, would you like to talk about some of our questions and comments we have?
Boy, would I. Let's see. You're gonna start with comments or the question we have written in?
Let's do the comments and then we'll have like the question at the end.
All right. On our last episode, which By the way, it was episode 103. That makes this one 104.
No, it doesn't. You're fucking lying.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not good at math. Independence Day. The ever enigmatic intern Bobby.
The ever enigmatic intern.
Said,
one day he'll get a promotion, but it's not this day.
But it is not this day. Ron Goose told me I'm not getting paid. That means I'm an intern. So he's answering your wait. Why is he an intern now? That when we talked about it, and then we talked about like Jekken sounds like a Pokemon, and we were trying to figure out what kind of Pokemon. And he said, "Please, Jekken is a metal type." And in parentheses, insert guitar riff.
Hell yeah! I gotta start making Jekken my gamer tag on.
That's pretty good.
Steam.
Once you learn how to say it, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I keep wanting to go Geoken. That's why I keep thinking like a ground type or a rock type.
They both sound cool.
It's true. It's true.
So they're both far
Geoken
superior to my actual. they're both far superior to my actual name. That's for sure.
Geoken is too close to Geodude. So Jekken. And then we talked about how we gotta start getting these things under 90 minutes.
That's never
And
gonna fucking happen.
poor Jekken will never get a podcast around 90 minutes. That is all three from the ever enigmatic intern Bobby.
Love you, Bubby.
Our executive producer
you're the
intern.
best. Our executive intern.
Executive intern. Oh man. Magnus 380, who I believe we responded to last time, responded a second time on the 13th Warrior. And we had been talking about movies that are so bad they're good. I don't remember any examples we threw out or anything. That episode was a long time ago. That was episode 99. But they suggested a so bad it's good movie would be Samurai Cop 1990.
I am pulling this up
I have to
right
fucking
now.
tell you.
I've heard about it, but I don't know anything about it.
I've seen it. Probably, I was going to say probably in 1990. That's not true. I've been 5 years old. But I can tell you right now, I haven't thought about that movie since I watched it. I forgot it existed completely. But
were you in agreement?
I'm absolutely in agreement. It might work. If we ever go back to streaming live, like talking like live commentary of bad movies, we're probably going to do Samurai Cop.
That sounds like it'd be pretty fun. I really enjoyed that series we did where it was like
it
turned Velocipaster,
yeah.
like
it weirdly
I'm surprised
got shark themed out of nowhere, but yeah, it was pretty good.
What was the Abraham Lincoln impersonator? Was that House Shark?
That was House Shark, yeah.
That was the infamous one where like we almost just walked away from recording anything ever again because
we were doing it live
House
too,
Shark.
and we almost said, "Oh, we're doing it live. Fuck it," and then left.
Yeah, just ending the fucking show. Jesus Christ, the fucking House Shark.
Oh, I stuck with it just because I was listening to you, bitch. It was amazing.
God.
There was nothing left of the guy but his asshole, his literal sphincter, and the guy was holding it in his hand for some reason. Oh, yeah, his grandpa was like stuffed in the corner of the room. Yeah.
So when you put it like that, you make the movie like sound watchable, but it's so not.
It started so strong too, with the guy getting sucked into the toilet and just blood. There's a blood geyser going everywhere, like it's fucking Nightmare on Elm Street.
Then it just no, never watch House Shark, please.
Oh man, and then Jeff. I love when this shit happens. We have one more comment. By the way, thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Magnus 380. John, not so much.
What are you talking about? I love talking about these comments.
A few days ago on Kung Fu Hustle, episode 97, said, "Who cares what you have to say?" And I would argue, you do, John. You cared enough to write a comment.
Whoa, let him cook. He might have a point. I think we got to stop the show.
We got to stop the show for a few days and think about this comment.
Yeah, we got to go think about what we've done. Yeah, I like the concept of that thinking though, because by that mindset, why should you care what anyone says about anything ever? Because like you're not wrong. Like why should you care? You shouldn't.
Yeah.
Because we're just two assholes on the internet. But why are you searching for movie reviews when you're gonna eventually hear people talk about the movie and you're mad?
Well, my thing is not even that. It's just, do you get to say who cares in a comment? Because, like, to me, it's like, I don't fucking care. And then I just turn it off or go to the next thing. I'm not going to think about, oh, God, I can't stand these guys. Let me write a comment telling them how much I don't like these guys. Like,
I always like the the effect that it has to where you take the time to type that comment. Why should anyone care what you have to say? And you're feeding the algorithm, leading to more people hearing what we have to say. So
yeah.
It's like, thanks, man.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
He definitely did, because we're up to almost 30,000 hits on that video.
I think we were already like super high on for our standards and the views before he joined in. So he's just like, man,
he's just keeping it going. Or I say he. I mean, I can see first name and what I assume is last name, so I'm going to use he, but I don't know that they're a he. But yeah, like I said, I would just argue you do if you left a comment. Which I almost replied with that just to see what happens.
Just that'd get some fucking traction in the YouTube comments.
I was gonna say, here's the thing.
An argument going on.
Here's the thing. It's engagement. It doesn't matter if it's negative or positive. Even if they gave a thumbs down, it helps us.
Yep.
So, yeah, and even if, I just replied and said dick, period. Like, that is engagement, and it helps the algorithm. So,
yep.
Of course, then they have grounds to flag me, but, if they really don't care, they wouldn't flag me. I could just say whatever I wanted.
I like that we have 2 like Sleuthors of the channel, though. That's pretty fucking cool. What was that? I don't remember the other guy's name. But
yeah, I don't.
We had like a
We've
like
had 3
Sleuthor.
now.
We had 3? Oh, that's right. We did have the other guy that got flagged on his comment or whatever.
Yeah, I flagged him.
Yeah. Get fucked.
I replied first and then flagged him. So the comment's gone, and I doubt you can see my reply. But they should have gotten an email of my reply.
Nice.
But anyways, I went to check for the held for review, and we still don't have anything. It makes me sad.
One day
we'll have something there. Actually, I think our first Lex Luthor was in the held for review stuff. I want to say it's weird that the suicide comment wasn't held for review.
Yeah,
it's weird that didn't
YouTube.
get automatically flagged.
Good job, Google. Well done.
Yeah, that's strange. Now that I think about it. But yes,
YouTube comments are just the wild fucking west, man. I don't even know. I don't think Google even cares anymore because it's like you said, it's all traction for them. Like, why should they give a shit?
Yeah, it's all engagement, and that's all that matters. But
it gives them more ad money for their bullshit, and they don't care. Like, be racist, be a piece of shit, all you want. It gives them more money, so that's all that matters to them.
Oh, I forgot we had Saddam Hussein last time that gave us 5 thumbs down, and I was disappointed that it was on the 13th Warrior and not on Hot Shots.
Imagine if his profile picture on YouTube was just the Hot Shots image. At the...
oh man,
that'd be great. See, that's the way you commit to the meme. You gotta commit. You gotta go the full fucking 9 yards, man. Come on, dude. Was that the last of our comments though? Before you start the question,
that was the last of the YouTube comments. Yes, and thank you everybody for taking the time to comment.
Yeah, for better or for worse.
the engagement stuff's fun. We're getting more of it these days.
Oh, I cherish getting to yell at anonymous people back on the internet after they've started shit for no reason like that. I love it.
It's really weird what has happened between you and me, Jeff, because on our original podcast, I was the angry one. And then we stopped it because I had kids. And then when we started this podcast, now I'm the one that's da-da-da-da-da. And you're like, go fuck yourself, John.
Yeah, I'm ready to fucking fight somebody, man. Just like bringing a beer bottle over the side of my desk. Let's fucking go. Like Joe and family. Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Oh my goodness. All right, what's our question?
So, eating dinner with the family, my son asked me an interesting question, and I decided to turn it into a podcast question. It's a 2-part question.
Dad, where did babies come from?
Yep, and I'm gonna record Jeff explaining this to a 7-year-old, and I'm gonna play it back to him.
Nobody cares what I have to say, though, dude. What are you talking about?
He will by the time he finishes this recording. Um, so, two-part question. It was not asked this way, but I transposed it into this. What is a movie that A, you enjoy that scares you, and B, scares you so much you have to turn it off? So looking for two answers to this question.
I'll let you go ahead and go first so I can think about it.
So mine's really obvious because the first two episodes of this podcast answer part A. Movie you enjoy that scares you would be The Thing or Alien. Both those movies still scare me. I've seen them so many times they shouldn't, but they do. Especially Alien at this point. Like, The Thing still gets to me, and it still gets me, but it's a different type of scare, right? It's more about distrusting those around you and the paranoia that comes with it. Alien, there's literally a fucking monster on the ship in the dark, and you don't know where it is, and for whatever reason, it looks like all the hoses on your ship. So it can be fucking anywhere. A movie that scares me so much I have to turn it off happens to me a lot with particular type of movie, like not only like exorcist movies, but things like exorcism movies that have a whole lot of not only the possession stuff going on, but the body articulating in ways that it shouldn't on its own.
Mm-hmm.
When we covered the Sam Neill movie.
Event Horizon?
No. The one we did before that, the Lovecraftian one.
Oh, In the Mouth of Madness.
In the Mouth of Madness. Is that the one with the bicycle lady?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the bicycle lady was hard for me to watch. Things like that. I told you in the green room that my answer was one, had I not seen it in the theaters, I would have turned it off. And that was The Last Exorcism. I might have even walked out of it had I not been there with a friend.
Interesting.
And it's not any comment or anything on the quality of that movie. It's just, it had a lot of the body contorting in all the ways that are wrong and doing things. And you see that a lot in exorcism movies and stuff like that. And then I had a religious upbringing, so that kind of, that doesn't help, right?
Like it strikes a nerve pretty much.
Yeah, like I know it's all fake, but it still hits a nerve, like you said, that I can't help.
Did you ever see The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
No.
I think you might like that one because I remember that one being pretty good. It was directed by Derrickson, who did Doctor Strange and Sinister.
Okay.
It was before he started making stuff with Cargill, but I remember it being pretty good. It was kind of like a blend between an exorcism movie and a legal drama because it is about a like court case to where there are charges being brought against the priest because it's believed that like he killed her even though she was just going through an exorcism. It's kind of interesting. It's actually kind of like taking the time to show the fallout from
after?
something like that. Yeah, which is like never talked about or like, you know, really got into. So it's kind of interesting how it's like half the movie is the flashbacks and showing the like, you know, the Exorcist style movie like flashback style, but then the current is like the legal drama fallout from it, which is a pretty interesting idea. You know, you just don't really see that often in horror. Usually it's just in media res,
right?
The shit show happening, not like the fallout from it. So it's pretty cool.
Another example I would have is like it's not just exorcism movies. It's like anything that is paranormal of a certain type, right? So like if you hadn't brought it over and we hadn't been watching it together, I probably would have turned off Sinister. Because it's just too fucking scary.
Interesting.
Like I cannot handle that type of movie.
I plan to have Sinister on here eventually. I probably will pick it for a Halloween movie selection at some point.
I will need you to come over and hold my hand.
I will hold your hand. I got you, buddy. So this is like a totally like polar opposite thing for me. Is I have never been so scared by something that I wanted to turn it off because like when Hereditary scared the shit out of me, I was like flapping my hands like a fucking seal, like I seek out that shit. That's why I like Hereditary so much, because Hereditary actually scared me. So that it's like that's like a treat. It's like something that I'm excited when it happens.
I don't do scary.
Like I could never like turn off turn off a movie because it's too scary. That's exactly what I'm looking for, because I just very rarely.
See, it's interesting because
I'm like bothered by them.
It's not why I look for scary movies. I look for scary movies because that's where I get my fucked up shit, like The Thing, and I like monsters more than anything. So a lot of the horror movies that I watch are monsters. I want to see the monster. I want to see what it does. I want to see the monster design, things like that. When you start getting into poltergeist type things, I have a huge blind spot for any supernatural horror, because I can't what's the haunted house? Is it? I keep wanting to say Amityville Horror, but that can't be right.
Movie, or like there was like the Haunting of Hill House show. I don't know if that's what you're.
No, there's a movie. It was remade at one point.
There was also The Haunting
about a house. No, it's got a town name in it. I feel like I'm mixing a Lovecraftian novel name with the town from Jaws.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Amityville Horror, 2005.
Just the Ryan Reynolds one.
I don't know. That's a good question. Is that
I've never actually seen Amityville. The original or the remake of it.
Holy shit! It was Ryan Reynolds. Now I've seen it. That's another one that's just kind of nope. Let me out of here.
You want to know? I
was paid to watch this one. That's why I stayed in it. Otherwise, I would have turned it off too.
The only one that's like, and it's not a movie, but Chernobyl is so haunting, and like the way that it's devastating, and it's just like, this should happen to real people, and that can like hit me in my, like the way that you have like the reaction to where if it's about the religious stuff, how it can kind of like strike a nerve. If I know deep down that this actually happened to real people, that can fuck me up a little bit. I wouldn't like stop watching it per se, but
so
like Chernobyl can like that show can really, really just hit you at your core.
When I watch something that's based on real events, my love of documentaries and things like that about weird shit that happens kind of takes over. And like, I don't like watching the bad things happening to people because I know it actually happened, but my curiosity also takes over, and like, I'm gonna watch it, right? And then it's probably gonna cause me to go look up stuff about the thing. So
you will fucking love that Chernobyl show once you get around to watching it, because
it came out at such a bad time. Like, I wasn't looking for anything dour and dark when it came out, so I've never gone back to it.
I'll probably just pick it for the show at some point, because it's so good. Like, you will finish it in a day or two, and it's only like 4 or 5 episodes, so it's nothing.
I'll show you. I'll do it in 3. Fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah. So I have almost okay. I'm also the type of person to where I feel like I need to watch the entirety of the movie to like really.
I mean, what was the Korean serial killer movie that you and I just went down the fucking rabbit hole on? The one
Memories
that
of
Soapy
Murder.
Pit. Yes.
Yeah.
The irony that I can never remember that name, and it literally has memories in the title. Like, that is how I react to things that happen in real life, even if it's a horror movie or scary movie, even if it scares me, is I will watch that movie, and then I'll start looking up shit on YouTube and start going to the Wikipedia page, and I just fall down the rabbit hole, and it's shit like that got me into like the Mothman and the Jersey Devil and stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I end up doing the Wikipedia deep dive of shit too.
Yeah.
But I am typically of the like opinion that if you're gonna have like a fully fleshed out review of a thing, that you need to have watched it in its entirety. If it's a movie, I feel like if you just kind of like watch the first half of it, it's like you need to watch the entirety. Because like the only time I've ever wanted to walk out of a movie was the Fede Alvarez Evil Dead movie from about like 10 years ago. I haven't watched it since, but like watching it in the theater, I don't even remember like why, but it just really pissed me off. And I was like, I was close to walking out at that point. I have never walked out of a movie though.
Oh god. I wanted to so bad on like when I was a kid on certain stuff, like when they put Pinocchio back in the theater and stuff. I was like, I hate this, but we ended up staying for it. But
Well, that shit's more disturbing than anything we've been talking about before. Yeah.
one movie I did walk out of one thing I wow of one thing that I walked out of was it I get the name of it mixed up with the other thing. Nurse Jackie. I walked out of.
I don't even know what the fuck that is. What is that?
It's supposed to be a comedy. It's supposed to be like a dark comedy. It's not funny. I'll tell you that. It's real. It's real. No, thank you.
Is it a show? I thought you were saying that you walked out of like
the
a
show?
theater.
What's the movie?
This is a show.
What's the movie? Nurse China. It's got nurse. It's like nurse something nurse. What is it? It's a name, nurse something. I saw it with my dad over at Star World 20 back when it was Star World 20. Nurse Betty.
Nurse Betty.
Yeah, that's it. I recognize this trailer. I walked out of this one.
What the fuck is this?
Not good.
I have
A widow's
no memory of this
post-traumatic
existing.
obsession with a soap star.
It's got Morgan Freeman in it. That's something. Yeah, I've never heard of this.
It's bad. Look at the cast. There's no reason it should be bad, but it's bad.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just for the people following along at home here, we've got Morgan Freeman, Renee Zellweger, Chris Rock, Greg Kinnear, Aaron Eckert. Aaron Eckert. He doesn't do movies.
Yeah, I wish he was in more stuff. I love Aaron Eckhart.
We got Crispin Glover. Like, the cast is pretty solid.
I'm just impressed you found a movie I've never heard of. That's impressive, because usually I've heard of shit from 50 years ago that I haven't seen just because I have an IMDb
There's
brain.
a reason you never heard of it. It's pretty bad. Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. I knew it was Nurse and a name. I had to fucking scroll IMDb for it. I typed in Nurse. I had to hit search. I never have to hit search. It's like going to page 2 of Google. And then I had to scroll past a whole bunch of stuff that didn't even have photos or posters to find that. IMDb is trying to fucking bury it. That's how bad it is. So I walked out of that.
Oh my goodness.
Me and my dad are both just like, you want to go? Yeah, and we just left.
That's a bummer too, because you're just like, man, we just wasted fucking money and time and all kinds of shit.
But yeah, things like that. Like, I've never seen like Poltergeist. Anything that's ghost or spooky.
Poltergeist isn't even like scary though. Poltergeist is more like a family movie. It was like fucking directed by Spielberg, basically. It's like,
yeah. I mainly remember a lot of the stuff of it from when I was a kid, and I've just never gone back to it as an adult. But like, what are those paranormal movies? That franchise?
Paranormal Activity.
I've never seen one of those. Not a single one.
So the first one's pretty cool, just because it's a movie that fully functions and was made for like $10,000,
and it's like practical effects, right?
Yeah, and it's all practical, which is incredibly admirable that it even exists. But then, of course, because it was like the most profitable fucking movie of all time, they just turned it into complete garbage and made 20 of them, even though like the whole thing that made it cool was the fact that it was made on a fucking shoestring budget, and then they tried to turn it into this big franchise and just ruined it, which is kind of sad. But
yeah, that's the fear everybody had about Deadpool, remember? Because it was on a shoestring budget, and it was remarkable what they did effects wise, and like the fight scenes, and Colossus looked great.
Well, it was like shoestring for a big modern superhero movie. I think it was still like a $60 million movie. It's like, cheap by current standards, but especially compared to how much money it made and the type of movie that it is. Yeah.
It was pretty low, and then everyone was
It changed the industry because it made R-rated movies in this genre possible.
Yeah.
Like you don't get like any of it. They even made fun of fucking like Logan
there's
in the second Deadpool. He's like, you talking about how like you get pissed that they took like the R-rated record from Deadpool.
There is a movie that I had texted you about. I don't know. I don't remember. Was it on Hulu? Maybe. It's okay. I would have it on the show because it does some interesting things. But there is a moment in it that features the creature that's in it just standing over a child while they're sleeping in their bed. And even though this is like this B movie that's just kind of okay at best and has a lot of stuff that I was just like, okay, movie, and just went back to like the game I was playing while it was on. Even in that moment, I was just like, oh, nope. Can't fucking handle watching that because things like that hit me harder as a parent than they did when I was younger. That is like one of your worst fears, like walk into a kid's room and there's just somebody standing over them. But yeah. It's Dark Skies is what it's called.
I remember writing a Christmas themed short story.
Yep, you sure did.
That fucked you up because it involved a kid letting a vampire into his house and inviting him in.
Yep.
Because he was dressed up as Santa Claus on Christmas Eve. And I remember that, like, there's some fucked up shit that happens in that story, but it was just the fact that it was a little kid inviting in someone dressed up as Santa that like fucked you up, and you were like, "Fuck this, Jeff! I can't take this."
Fucking raised my hackles reading it. I was just like, no. I don't like any of this. It was good,
man.
but I don't like it.
It was good. Fuck you, Jeff, but it was good.
Fuck you. It was good, but fuck you.
Oh man,
you can go stream a deck.
I think that was our last part of the Q&A section. Was there anything else that you want to touch on before we move on to the review?
No, I don't think so. I'm trying to think if there was a creature feature that ever made me turn it off, but I don't think so.
We spitballed on different avenues of the topic so much I don't even know if I fully answered it, but yeah, I've never turned off something because it was too scary. Anytime I see comments from people saying like this is the scariest movie I've seen this year, I immediately add it to like a watch list because like that's the shit I'm seeking out. It's like that's what made me like Hereditary so much, just because Hereditary was the first horror movie I had seen in probably 15 years that actually made me like a little bit nervous that night going to bed. And when your imagination plays tricks on you and you start to like look up in the corner of the ceiling, that was actually enough to kind of fuck with me.
Yeah, I know. I didn't see any of that in Hereditary.
Because your TV's fucked.
Not enough nits, it turns out. Yeah, no. I think I was shielded from that stuff so much as a kid. Like, language and violence wasn't that big of a deal. I wasn't allowed to watch, like, sex or anything. And I didn't get to see, like, Jurassic Park forever because, like, my dad was convinced it would scare me. So I didn't have a lot of exposure to that. And I think that's why I like things like Alien and The Thing so much, is because it was a big blind spot for me. And I like monsters. I want to see monsters. And like, I just eat that shit up. Even if it's like a B movie, like, oh, this has a monster in it. What's it look like? And like, I'll turn it on, like a C or D movie. Like, oh, what's the monster look like? Oh, that's fucking terrible. That's a high school budget. That's what that is. And then, but I watch it anyway. Because it's got a monster.
Interesting too. So like like The Thing is my favorite movie of all time, and
perfect movie.
And Alien is one of my like top 5 favorite movies
also
of all time.
Perfect movie.
And I don't really find either of them scary. Probably the one that gets the closest is like Alien reaches like such levels of intensity. It's like there's almost like a difference between like the tension of them, which is like what I really like about them, is I think they're incredibly tense and like well-paced movies, but they're not like that. I don't find them scary.
I think The Thing is scary, but I don't think it is make you shit your pants scary. I think it touches a nerve that everybody has, which is just like, is this person next to me the person I think they are? Well, you know what I mean? Like, can I trust this person? Is this person who I think they are? Are they here to like get me or whatever? Like, it's got a real paranoia that sets in. And even if you've seen the movie, you find yourself losing track of who to trust and who not trust, even if you've already seen the movie, you know? It's
what made
it's
Invasion
really
of the
good.
Body Snatchers so fucking good. Like I find Invasion of the Body Snatchers actually probably like a little bit scarier than The Thing and Alien, because there's a level of dourness to that movie and like how futile their attempts are because of how much they're already screwed, that I just find it like so captivating. And it's just like you watch that movie and at certain points you're just like, fuck,
Yeah, that
man.
movie is more of a tragedy than anything, because by the time they figure out what's going on, they're already fucked.
You feel it in your soul. It's just like so sad just how screwed they are.
Yeah, and they're just trying in vain so hard. I want to get Puppet Masters back on here because I remember liking it. I don't remember why I liked it. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. It was one of them that me and my dad would watch anytime it was on TV. We didn't like go rent it or anything, but if it was already on TV, we would stop channel surfing and watch it. I want to get it on here because I want to say it's got a lot of that stuff going on from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's just a little bit different flavor, but I can't remember if it was I like it because it's bad or I like it because it's like legit good. I just remember Donald Sutherland's in it. That's basically all I remember. But I want to get it on here because either way, it would make for a good podcast.
Yeah.
I think you would enjoy it either way. Whether it was good or bad, I think you would enjoy it. That's all I remember.
I'm like the biggest fan of that entire like subgenre. I fucking love stuff in that vein of The Thing and Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The Quiet Invasion is the coolest fucking concept.
So good.
It's the whole reason I read that Stephanie Meyer book, The Host, because it is a quiet invasion. It is literally Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but what if it was romance? But yeah, we're already fucked at the beginning.
It's Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but what if it sucks?
Actually, that movie is fucking terrible. That book, it's okay. It wasn't good enough that it was worth my time, but I didn't hate reading it either. I read it beginning to end.
So the fact that it was like actually readable makes it like her magnum opus. That's like the bar you have to clear.
To be fair, I've never read Twilight. I don't know how bad.
Do you need to though? I don't know.
I feel like some of that is just Harry Potter's popular. Get another YA book and make it into a movie.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure some of those scenes of narration are just word for word narration from pages from the book. And if so, fucking kill me, dude. Good God. But yeah, tell Nathan, thanks for the question. It was a very, very good question. Got a lot of good conversation out of it. Got a lot of Nurse Betty talk. Nobody had that on their bingo card for today's episode.
And since I sent you that link, I got Renee Zellweger staring at me.
Yeah, I'm gonna scroll up. That's the scariest thing I've seen in a while. Okay. I scrolled up and found the blatant Frozen knockoff ad of Call of Dragons that we talked about a few episodes. Oh man. Thanks again everyone who wrote in.
Frozen, by the way, much better than Nurse Betty.
Debatable.
Debatable.
Thanks again everybody that had written in. We appreciate the comments and question and everything. If you have a question for us in the next episode, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com or just drop the comment in the YouTube section. We'll check it out.
I wasn't sure where that was going. Or just drop the comment and then you paused. I was like, is that it? Just drop it.
Do you also think that nobody should care what we have to say? Let us know.
Do you care what we have to say?
We just put that. We put like a poll on the Twitter. Do you care what we have to say? Yes or no?
Oh my God! I want you to do it.
I'll probably do it. I'll
do it.
I'll fucking do it, man.
Do it, man. I'll do it.
Yeah. So we're gonna start up our review of Deadpool and Wolverine. So huge spoilers.
We're gonna spoil everything that we remember,
which is 90% of the first act. And then it's just all a blur of references and jokes that I don't remember at all. So huge spoilers. Granted, I had several things spoiled for me and still really enjoyed the movie. So but I think a lot of like the fun is just not knowing what you're in for exactly, because the movie's bad shit. It's absolutely fucking bonkers. I would say even more bad shit than the first two movies, which is pretty impressive. So where would you like to start? That's another thing. I don't know where to fucking like go with this review. Like, where do you start? We've talked. We had the first movie on the podcast. We did not cover the second one, but we might at some point, just to cover up like the missing spot, because I really like the second one. Just to start us off, how does this rate against the first two for you? Because I would say Deadpool and Wolverine, while still in the vein of Deadpool, I think is a little bit more like chaotic than the first two, especially the first one. I think the first one is actually like, it's crazy if it's Deadpool, but if you compare the plot line, it is a lot more simplistic in what they do with it.
Yeah, I think the first one probably has the best plot, because it's hero go save girl. Classic. I haven't seen Deadpool 2 since it came out, so I don't know. I'll be watching it soon because my wife is running through Deadpool 2, and Logan before on the kids' first day of school. We're gonna drop them off and go to the theater and watch Deadpool Wolverine.
Nice.
So she's watching those to go through them. And
Deadpool 2 is really strong.
I remember it being really, really good, and I remember enjoying it more than the first one. But I'm curious to see how that will hold up when I watch it again.
Yeah, it's tough. So we watched the first one a few months ago.
I might have to get back to you after I've seen all three.
So we watched the first one a few months ago when we covered it on the show. So in the lead up to...
Which feels like years ago.
It really does. In the lead up to the new one coming out, I watched the second movie on Disney Plus like a few days before you and I were going to be going to the theater to watch it. And
which, by the way, go look up the description.
But yeah, the Deadpool 2 description on Disney Plus is genius. I saw that, and it like made me bust out laughing, because it's just like, yes, that person gets it. Yeah, the second one's really strong. But they're each weird in their own way, where they're hard to compare, because the first one is very simplistic in its plot, and it's bonkers because it's Deadpool, but there is like the way that this one is batshit, this new one, it reaches like brand new levels of insanity. Like, there's just some crazy shit going on.
Now, it's written by the same two guys, right?
Yes. So it is Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who are the original writers of the first movie. And then with the second movie and with this one, Ryan Reynolds joined the writing team. And the third one is also co-written by Sean Levy, the director.
Okay.
So the third movie has a bunch of fucking cooks in the kitchen.
It's a good movie, but it kind of feels like it, right? It kind of feels like it's got... But also, is Sean Levy actually one of the writers, or is it because that writer's strike happened while the movie's being made, and they weren't allowed to edit any scripts or to append any scripts or to do anything? They had to do some stuff on their own without the writers around. Because one of the issues with the way these movies are made is a lot of it is ad-lib and a lot of it is written as they go. And then the writers thing happened in the middle of this one. So did Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds kind of take over while filming?
So it happened for a brief second. If I remember correctly, in the credits for Deadpool and Wolverine, their writing credit is all ampersands, which means it's a writing team. It's when you see the word written out as in writing credits that it means it was separated. So if Sean Levy had been separated by the word and instead of them all being ampersands, I would say that he had done...
This is stupid.
This
is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
It's just the way they do it. So if you see like a...
So what does that mean for Deadpool and Wolverine? Is Deadpool and Wolverine therefore equal because they're separated by an ampersand?
Yeah, they're a team.
Okay, cool.
But
They didn't seem like a team in the movie, Jeff. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I think it was a concerted effort. They were all writing it. They at least have to have written a lot of it before the production happened to get the ampersand, to get like, it's pretty crazy to have like a, what is it? Also, Zeb Wells co-wrote it. Who the fuck is Zeb Wells? There's so many writing credits on this thing. Zeb Wells sounds like more like a fucking Marvel character than some people in the movie. A robot chicken writer. That makes sense.
Boy, this felt like a Robot Chicken sketch.
Yeah.
And I say that as a guy that likes Robot Chicken, but I could almost see the TV static when changing the channels in this movie.
Yeah, but I really enjoy this movie. I probably would have enjoyed it more if it was like a 4-person writing team instead of 27, because it does feel like there are a lot of cooks in the fucking kitchen.
It almost feels like someone took like a 5 or 6 episode miniseries and just cut it down into a movie.
It's so...
It still works because it's Deadpool, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But
and the thing is that
it's got to feel like that to me, because it feels like it climaxes a couple of times during the movie.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, but how frenetic it is also like what makes it charming,
right?
And it's also probably difficult to continue.
I mean,
writing. So like for Deadpool, I think Deadpool is a hard character to write for because you have infinite possibilities with like the space that you're in, because there's fourth wall breaking. They had access to make fun of 30 years of Fox Marvel movies. Actors who had been in the movies, who are in this one, who reprised their roles that we'll talk about, and like recalling back in jokes within the first 2 movies. It's just like it's like a blank fucking canvas for whatever you want, and that's almost like overbearing sometimes when you have to like sit down and actually write the script for it, I would imagine.
And any of those things you said are extremely easy to do terribly,
and very, very cheap. Like
yes.
I would like to know, with any of these movies, like to see the draft by draft kind of progression in the way that you write them, and like to your point, how much of Deadpool and Wolverine is just them bullshitting on set. It's hard to say, because the way that especially the way that Ryan Reynolds plays Deadpool, you can't tell when something is ad-libbed because of the way that he does the character.
Yeah, you don't know if they didn't do a one-liner 13 times and pick the best one.
Yeah, he's so spontaneous with his delivery as the character. I couldn't fucking tell you when it's ad-libbed and when it's, been on the script for 2 years. I don't fucking know. So, let's start with the direction, because I think Sean Levy, who has been like Ryan Reynolds' like BFF for several years now, they're apparently neighbors, and that's kind of why they started making movies constantly together.
Interesting.
I think it's really funny that the same guy who directed Deadpool and Wolverine directed a few things you might have heard of, such as Cheaper by the Dozen, Big Fat Liar, and what was the other one that made me laugh? Oh, this little movie called Night at the Museum.
I like that movie. I know a lot of people don't.
Isn't that bonkers that the same guy who directed Deadpool and Wolverine directed these movies?
Stranger Things.
He directed the Pink Panther movie with Steve Martin.
No,
Isn't that fucking wild?
Fuck him. Get him out of this nuts? Career. He does not deserve it. Let's see.
Also directed 3 episodes of Animorphs, After My Own Heart.
Birds of Prey TV series. What's the Birds of Prey TV series?
The Birds of Prey TV series around that time, I'm pretty sure, like, was a one and done. Like, they made the pilot and then it was terrible, so they immediately canceled it and didn't carry it over to a full season.
He directed 3 episodes of the Animorphs TV show.
Yeah, After My Own Heart, dude.
Oh, I watched that show. I liked that show. No one else did.
I love the career progression. Like through all of those
Steve
projects.
Martin movies. Interesting.
And then you end up doing fucking Deadpool and Wolverine, which made like 205 million opening weekend. I think it broke the R-rated record and was just like insanely good on box office. So he can pretty much do like whatever he wants now, which means he'll just continue making dozens and dozens of movies with Ryan Reynolds because they're just buddies. It's pretty funny. We had already mentioned the 27-person long writing credit list, which is just absolutely fucking insane. Let's go through the cast. So here's just like a quick topic for you. Like, what were your thoughts initially on them announcing that like Hugh Jackman was coming back? Because it was like a big point of contention. I think the movie actually does a pretty good job of creating content off of that being like a controversy within the fandom. So like, what were your thoughts on Hugh Jackman coming back for this?
I'm always down for Hugh Jackman being Wolverine.
I am too.
Always.
So good.
I agreed when he said he was retiring the character, and it wasn't one of those, oh, he must have a mortgage due, so of course he's back. Like, this was a good reason to pull the character back out. Because it was Logan, right? After Logan, he said he was retiring the character.
Yeah.
This was a good reason to dust off the old claws.
I think they also actually had a joke in Deadpool and Wolverine, which correlates to what happened with Hugh Jackman in real life. Hugh Jackman did have a divorce in real life.
Did he really?
His long-term relationship with his wife for like many decades, and he had a divorce, and they made it a fucking joke in the movie that he needed the money because of his divorce. It was like, Jesus, guys.
Wow. I mean, he had to have signed off on that. He has.
Oh, of course.
He has an incredible sense of humor. Like, I've seen him in interviews and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
He will make fun of himself in an interview. Like, is it just me? For an instant, are you on Sean Levy's IMDb?
I can be. I'm pretty close.
I need you to look at his profile picture. I scrolled down and was looking at his stuff, and when I scrolled back up, I was like, why am I looking at Dax Shepard's IMDb?
He reminds me of in Nope. You remember the cinematography guy? He reminds me of that guy.
I think so.
Oh,
I want to watch that movie again. That's a good movie.
Yeah, Nope is
Nope.
incredible.
Yeah. No, I was happy to see him again. And in my mind, when he came back, I was like, you and I have talked before, whoever plays Wolverine next is fucked. Because there's nobody out there that dislikes Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. People might not like the movies he's in. People might not like, they might have problems with how they treat a character. But pretty much everyone universally agrees that he is a great Wolverine. So whoever wears the claws next is just fucked.
Well, it sounds like they don't really intend to do another rendition, because to see like they even have multiple comments in this where it's like they're talking about the possibility of him just like continuing to be Wolverine into the future with these movies and with various, because like they're bringing in the X-Men, so like it kind of makes sense, but I don't know, it's interesting where they can go with his character.
It is the closing of one chapter of this character and the opening of the next chapter for this character in this movie. Yeah, it's really strange. It's not something you typically see in a movie, Yeah,
and it's also weird because he's a variant. He's not the same Logan. He's a variant, the one in this movie.
Right.
The original one makes an appearance. And maybe the best scene of the movie is the opening. The openings of the various Deadpool movies are always so fucking good. Like the way that they do their opening credits is always so fucking batshit.
They always open with a pop song too.
But what's interesting too is like the variant thing. So he is from a timeline where all of the X-Men died,
but
they've shown Beast in the Marvels at the post-credits thing, to where it's like they're in a different dimension where they showed Beast, so they're bringing in an X-Men group from a different dimension that is not the same as this Logan's, because this Logan's X-Men team all died.
Right.
So it's like, is this Logan going to be a part of the new X-Men material they're doing, or is he going to be separate and included in like Deadpool related stuff? It's like they can kind of do both or neither. I guess it just kind of depends on like how much like Hugh Jackman wants to do, because he's talked about how like much of a fucking nightmare it was to get back into shape at 55 to do this.
But based on what I saw in this movie, I can imagine he made me question some things about myself.
Right? Like the dude was
he's like 60 years old or close to it. and
Yeah,
he looks fucking great.
yeah. It's incredible, like how much he was able to get in shape like you said, almost being fucking 60 years old. I think he started training for this movie at 55, which is insane.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm curious to see where they go with this like this new character. And
You know, one thing that it felt like I didn't notice it really with everything going on in the other X-Men movies and all the different characters and the way things go down in those movies. But there's always something slightly off about that Wolverine that I could never quite put my finger on. And I figured it out when we were sitting in the theater watching this movie. And that is, Wolverine seems like just a guy with a metal skeleton and claws. And in this movie, he's fucking throwing people through concrete walls and picking people up and flinging them around. And he might as well just be flipping cars over also. Like, that super strength that you associate with him in the cartoons and some of the superhuman shit he does in the comics and everything makes an appearance in this. In the other movies, he's stronger than the average guy, but he's not flinging people through concrete either.
yeah,
You know, like,
which but it also makes sense because like he is a variant. Like they've shown like there are
right. And I'm not saying, you know, that everything else is bullshit because of it. I'm just saying I could never quite figure out what it was about that Wolverine that made him more tame seeming, I guess. And it's because he is the rage god we all know him as. Like, he is fucking raging Kratos in this. And he is... Sorry if I'm going in and out on my mic. I'm trying to covertly get my chair off of my fucking headphones cable. And I'm like wheeling back and forth and shit trying to do it. But yeah, he is the rage monster that we wanted. And he is just straight up flinging people through concrete barriers and everything like you would expect him to do. Not because necessarily it makes sense that he can or anything, but just the type of movie it is, it makes sense for our superheroes to be doing that kind of thing, right? Like it was something that I was always like, something seems off and I could never quite figure it out. And the first time when they land in the fucking garbage dump area from Loki, and that first fight and he flings Deadpool through a big old piece of concrete, I was like, that's what it was. That's the thing that I've been picking up on. None of that happens in the other X-Men movies.
I think Deadpool is also a little bit stronger in this movie too. Deadpool has a few scenes where he's kind of like that kind of super strength like wasn't really present in the first two movies to this extent, but you don't give a shit because it doesn't matter.
It also makes sense because they're basically going up against a god, right? I mean, Cassandra Nova can basically do whatever the fuck she wants, so juicing them up a little bit makes sense.
That's the person I want to talk about next is Emma Corrin as Cassandra Nova. I think it's so cool that they did Cassandra Nova for one of these movies. Do you know who Cassandra Nova is from the comics?
I have heard the name, and that is it.
Okay, so Cassandra Nova is super cool in the comics.
As I saw,
her first appearance. So you know in X-Men 97 with the stuff in Genosha, how that is related to a different character in X-Men 97.
Yeah.
The genocide. So that is Cassandra Nova in the comics.
Okay.
She orchestrated the genocide in Genosha in the comics in the Grant Morrison run. I think it was like New X-Men in the early 2000s. Super cool. But the way that they show her powers in this movie, I think is super cool when she is doing the mind reading, but she does it by having to like kind of phase into your skull, literally. It's such a cool effect.
She has a line where she talks about her brother, which is Professor X, got the ability to do it telepathically, and she wasn't so lucky. So like she literally, not figuratively, literally reaches into your mind the way Professor X figuratively does it.
There's a fucking scene where she is dragging Mr. Paradox, and the way that they have her fingers like just coming out of his eye sockets, but it's not hurting him in this. It's not like doing.
It's not doing
like
physical
literal
harm.
damage. Yeah, it's such a cool effect, and it's so like unsettling when you watch the way that they do it, and it's super, super cool because it's been a while since I read those comics, but I want to say that's how they kind of represent her abilities in the comics as well.
Like,
so it's super cool.
It looks like something you could do in like DaVinci Resolve, like fairly easily, but it's also done really well. Like it's a surreal looking thing. It doesn't take away from anything. It doesn't look cheesy. It could very easily be cheesy.
But the way they do it is it's very disturbing to look at sometimes. You're just like, fuck.
It's very, very, very surreal is how I would say it.
I thought Emma Corrin was pretty good as Cassandra Nova as well.
And
they
it
don't
was
really
driving
have...
me nuts. I've never seen anything else that she's done, but I realized where I've seen her. She is Princess Diana in The Crown, and she was the poster for that show everywhere.
I actually haven't. I've meant to circle back around to that. I think I've seen the first episode of it and liked it, but I just haven't circled back to it.
I've never seen a single one. If I could hit the right fucking buttons. This poster on IMDb, that I have seen that image everywhere. And that's why I was the whole movie. I was like, where do I fucking know you from? And I couldn't figure it out, but it's that.
I'm sure it's a great performance in that show too, because the cast list for that show is ridiculous.
Oh, dude, you have no idea. Chris watched some of it. I don't know if she watched all of it. I know she watched some of it.
Yeah, it's like if you just look at like the IMDb list of who's been in that fucking show, it's ridiculous. What did you think of Matthew McFadyen of Succession and I believe he was from Pirates of the Caribbean, right? That's probably one of his like earliest roles. People would know him.
That's Paradox?
God, there's
who was he in Pirates? I would swear I've never seen him before.
I might be mixing him up with I think I'm mixing him up with oh god, you'll know like the
Jeff,
the actor I'm talking about.
You don't do that. I do. Oh, he's Athos in the Three Musketeers.
He looks a lot like that fucking dude from the first Pirates to me for some reason. I get him mixed up a lot.
No, are you talking about Norrington?
Jack Davenport, yeah. But for whatever reason, my brain like associates Matthew McFadyen. But Matthew McFadyen, specifically as Tom in Succession, is probably his most like notable thing.
Yeah, I've never seen it
recently.
He's in the Russell Crowe Robin Hood too. He's the sheriff. So I would know him from that and from the Three Musketeers. He was Athos. That's the only two things I have seen that he's done. So yeah, I did not recognize him.
He's great in Succession. He's really well cast for this. I love a lot of the stuff they do with the TVA.
I like a sniveling weasel as a villain. You know,
me too.
You've got your what's the sitcom guy in Aliens? The Mad About You guy.
Oh God, I could have told you didn't ask me.
We're bad at this. We're bad at this job.
It is
Paul Reiser.
Paul Reiser, yeah, I've had it just
Yeah, I just got there. It's Paul Reiser. Like I love a villain like that, and that's basically what he is Paul Reiser in Aliens.
Pretty much.
A podcast I listened to did best, and this was when they were taking entries from the listeners too. The best, I'm trying to remember how they worded it, but basically the best weasel in a movie, and most people wrote in Paul Reiser in Aliens. So the question wasn't iconic or whatever, it was just the most weaselly weasel basically in a movie, and Paul Reiser from Aliens was the majority of people.
Yeah, it's the perfect answer for that for sure.
So yeah, and that's what he reminded me of, but especially when the TVA figures out what's going on and shows up, and he just immediately tries to turn everything around.
I love how like the TVA is so weird that they just have constant like just bullshit happening and like these like little like splinter cells within the TVA, because like because the way the TVA works, like how do you manage that shit? It's like, of course there's people doing like evil shit, because how would you even know what they're doing?
Right.
You know, it's crazy. I'm also just such a fan of the Loki TV show that I really like the way the TVA was implemented in this, and it makes sense. With the way that you think initially that it's because of the ending of Deadpool 2, but it's it's a little bit different than that. Do you want to start talking about some of the cameos, because the cameos are a big part of this?
I have a quick aside. This kind of falls into the cameo stuff, but Brianna Hildebrand plays Negasonic Teenage Warhead.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at her description on IMDb, is an actress from Texas, widely known for playing Negasonic Teenage Warhead and X-Man with the best name ever from the Deadpool film series alongside Ryan Reynolds. Oh, I fucking love it. That's a
great.
straight up quote from Deadpool.
Yep.
I don't know who wrote that. I don't know if she wrote that. I don't know who wrote that, but well done. Well done.
Yeah. I don't even know where to fucking begin with the cameos in this.
Can we begin with Calverine?
Yeah, we can do that.
This is the cameo
huge
that was
spoilers
spoiled
again
for me, and I wasn't even angry. I wasn't even upset because honestly, I don't know if I would have recognized him if I didn't know he was in the movie.
It's interesting how we had different stuff spoiled for us.
Yeah, I shut down social media and everything. I went in almost blind. I only had 2 things spoiled for me, and one of them isn't even real, it turns out. So I got lucky. But Henry Cavill is in this movie, and the same podcast I just mentioned, The Ramble, Jerry Rocha and Eddie Pence were talking about, could you imagine if Hugh Jackman retires the character if we got Henry Cavill as Wolverine? And I was like, pre-Witcher, I would have been like, I don't know. But after The Witcher and hearing how many times he can say fuck differently.
I love his Geralt. That's so good.
I'm like, you know what? I'm all fucking in. When he shows up looking exactly like Hugh Jackman until he turns around, his silhouette is exactly Hugh Jackman. Oh, dude, it's one of the best moments in the entire movie for me.
Yeah, I had no fucking clue who was in this at all.
Like, oh, well, this one looks right, and it's fucking Henry Cavill. Oh, it's so good.
I love what they did with Chris Evans in this movie.
Oh, dude. When he starts cursing and Deadpool slowly turns and looks at him.
It's so good. So they have Chris Evans in this.
And they use the Captain America score.
Yeah, and Deadpool starts freaking the fuck out because he thinks he's Cap, but it turns out he's Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four movies from 20 fucking years ago, and you're just like, what the fuck?
And he has the biggest wah-wah in the whole movie.
What's fantastic about him being Johnny Storm is what's crazy about just what Chris Evans had to do to become Captain America. He looks like literally half the size as Steve Rogers in this, and then you realize that's Chris Evans when he's the size of a normal human.
Well, you know how they do de-aging tech? I wonder if, I don't think it's a body double. I wonder if they just made him look smaller the way they made Tony Stark look emaciated at the beginning of Endgame.
I think it's just Chris Evans has famously hates working out.
You think
I think he just stopped working out, and this is Chris Evans as
stopped working
normal
out
size.
too, and I don't look like that.
When you stop working out as the size he was for Steve Rogers, 5 years later, you get modern Johnny Storm Chris Evans, I think.
Dude,
I think he just stopped working out.
Looking like that is fucking terrible from everything I've heard. From everything I've heard, yeah, you look great in a movie role or whatever, but that is a full-on lifestyle change, and I've heard if you're not into it, if you're not a professional bodybuilder, it's a fucking nightmare. Because what's interesting is working out, you're eating food that you hate. You can't have anything that you love. You have to completely upend your entire life if you're not into it.
Or you have to eat so much of a certain thing that it makes you literally vomit. Have you heard people trying out the Hugh Jackman diet that he was on for Wolverine for the longest time?
No.
You have to eat literally 4 full-size chickens a day to get that much protein.
Yeah, that's
to look like he did.
That's one thing they were talking about. The Olympics is on my brain right now because I've been watching the Olympics. But I remember Michael Phelps when he was winning gold medal after gold medal needed 11,000 calories a day or something.
It's absurd.
And I remember, like, you'll notice, like, Dwayne Johnson, he'll be huge in a movie and then in interviews be tiny. And it's because it's a fucking nightmare. You have to constantly eat and you have to constantly work out. And when you're not working out, you're eating. And sometimes you're eating while working out. Like, you're just, you have to constantly feed that. And the moment you quit working out, your body, here's the thing, your body is smart. It's efficient. And if you don't have a use for that muscle is inefficient. It requires a lot of energy. Me reaching over on the desk and picking up my cell phone might take me 1 calorie. It might take Hugh Jackman looking like this 5 calories to do. Like, it's not an efficient thing. Your body loses it. It drops it. So you have to fucking maintain that. And it's not as easy as working out. You have to trick your body. If you do the same thing over and over and over, you don't build muscle. You get stronger, but you don't build muscle. Your body gets more efficient at doing the same thing. So you have to work out one way for like a week or two and then change your workout for a week or two. And then you have to change your workout. And you have to keep changing. Your body doesn't know what's going on, so the muscles just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a nightmare. From everything I've read and heard in interviews, it is not a life you want unless you're planning on bodybuilding for the Olympics.
Right. So what was funny too with Chris Evans, he hated working out so much. They had to come up with a specific workout schedule for him to where he would have the most like truncated workouts. Because I remember watching a YouTube video where the two guys that did the channel were trying to they were trying to recreate the schedule that Chris Evans was on to be Captain America. And they were like, really? He was able to look like that doing this? Because it was like nothing. It was like, it was intense, but it was like his daily workout routine would be like, like an hour instead of the like 6 hours that the fucking Rock does. It was pretty crazy. Like how much Chris Evans bulked up with as little, relatively speaking, like gym time as he was doing. But yeah, I think he just stopped fucking working out because he hates it. So he looks like that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
Wesley Snipes is back as Blade in this. That was one that was spoiled for me that I was pretty sad.
Cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool seeing Wesley Snipes as Blade. I love the joke where it's like, I'm the only Blade.
No, there's only ever been one Blade. There'll only ever be one Blade.
And then just immediately cut to Deadpool
looking directly into the camera.
Yeah. Although at this rate, I don't know if that fucking Blade movie's coming out because it's been in development hell for like 5 years now. They keep fucking firing people and redoing the script and shit. So who knows?
No, I was floored to see Wesley Snipes, Jennifer Garner, Channing Tatum.
The Channing Tatum one was the biggest surprise to me because I was like,
and one of the best jokes.
It's so good. So that did not get spoiled for me, thankfully.
Oh, good. I would have been so, especially with all the Gambit stuff going on right now.
Oh, for sure. So Channing Tatum, who was supposed to be playing Gambit for like 20 years, it feels like.
Yeah, something like that. Wasn't he going to be one of the X-Men Origins movies? Because they were going to do Wolverine, Magneto, and another one, and Wolverine tanked so hard that they just canceled everything. They canceled the whole series.
I think he was.
If it's not that, then he was supposed to be playing Gambit in something else big, like a big X-Men movie. It was big news that they cast Gambit.
And he's in the fucking costume. He's doing the voice. It's crazy. And like I was flabbergasted.
Everyone reacted, including me. I will admit, everyone reacted to that casting choice like someone went out and did something crazy and casted Michael Keaton as Batman or something. Like,
I know, right?
It was, we were like, what? Channing Tatum? Of all people?
It did seem very out of left field.
Like, yeah. Like Magic Mike? Like, what was it? It wasn't Honey. Was it Step Up? Like, the Step Up guy? He's going to step up and be Gambit? Like, no. But no. One of the best jokes in the movie, he's making fun of the character, while being the best Gambit out there, probably better than X-Men cartoon Gambit. And they're making fun of him while also doing it justice. Like, I can't wrap my head around it. He was a fucking phenomenal Gambit.
It's really weird. I don't think I could say he's better than the cartoon version because that is just always going to be Gambit.
He was a lot less rapey than the cartoon one.
Well, I'm talking about like 97 is like the best like version of that character. To me, I thought they
is
just like crushed it with
97 really the OG cartoon though? It's too good to be the OG cartoon.
I'm just saying like that. So like Gambit, the way he is in the cartoon will always be Gambit to me.
Yeah.
So it's like, but for like the way he works in like a live action setting, it's like shockingly
Dude, that
good.
costume should not work. And I love Gambit, but his power set is kind of silly.
It's very dumb.
And he was so fucking cool in the big fight. He was so
I also
good.
like they so because it's Deadpool and Wolverine and rated R is all fuck. He's just like he's not blowing up robots and shit. Like he just like is decimating people in like gory, horrible, like horrifying
ways. Which is what his
it's,
powers would do.
Yeah, it's like the realistic, like it's like the boys, the way that they have like a realistic interpretation of like what happens, you know,
if Superman punches someone.
If Superman decides to murder an entire room of human beings, like it is going to be a horror movie, and it's like you have like that kind of like correlation with this.
The only thing I was thinking, I was like, if only he had the staff, and then later they cut to him and he has the staff,
and he has the fucking staff.
We never saw him pull it out though. I feel like that's a cut scene or something because we just all of a sudden cut over to him and he just has it. I'm like, how'd you not show him pulling that out and it extending? But
so it's not only shockingly well done, and it's funny because like the in joke of like that they can't understand what he's saying.
Yeah,
is
Deadpool
hilarious.
keeps interpreting for him and he's doing it wrong.
It's one of the best jokes in the movie, but it's also just like so cool that like Channing Tatum finally got to fucking play the character that he was associated with for like 15 years,
and he did so good as that character.
And it's also
I want more Channing Tatum Gambit.
So what's also just like so cool about that in this context is that was Ryan Reynolds with Deadpool. Like Ryan Reynolds got fucked over in the Origins movie and didn't think he was ever going to be.
So did Gambit.
He didn't think he was ever going to be able to play Deadpool again. Finally was able to get his shot with, you know, like the new modern Deadpool movies, and like that he was able to, because of the success of the Deadpool movies, give Channing Tatum that same opportunity, and it's so fucking cool and so sweet that like he got to fucking play Gambit.
Like I feel like
it's so cool.
I feel like X-Men Origins Wolverine is why we never saw Gambit again in live action. Because that was his partner he was running around with.
The Gambit in that movie is so fucking bad. The special effects were just so miserable with that. It's so bad.
Now, the only thing that I think was off is I don't think Channing Tatum's eyes were black. But other than that, I think he was spot on costume and everything.
Yeah, it was pretty accurate, I would say.
But
about as accurate as you can get.
One of the best jokes though in the whole movie is like, God, it feels like I've been here forever. And it cuts to him. He's like, I feel like I was born here. And he was, because he never got to play that character. That character was literally born there in this movie.
Yeah,
it's so good. It's such a good, subtle way to nod that. It just cuts to him. I feel like I was born here.
Another one that, dude, I was...
Remy LeBeau. People call him a Gambit. Now, hang on. People call you Gambit or you want people to call you Gambit? Because it kind of sounds like you want people to call you Gambit.
The one that is the most like out of left field for me is just like, was there a big you know, like response to Jennifer Garner coming back? Did anyone actually want Jennifer Garner to come back? That was like, it was kind of like an odd choice for me. Was them getting Jennifer?
I mean, she was Elektra. It makes sense.
Do you give a shit about Jennifer Garner as Elektra? Because I don't.
I like that movie.
I don't have an issue with like with her as the character, like specifically, but it's just like I feel like people wanted to see Wesley Snipes back. They didn't know they wanted to see Channing Tatum as Gambit, but they figured out they did.
I
but
think
like,
that's
I feel
the
like
joke, though, right?
Yeah, it's just like such a random hodgepodge.
But no, I like because they talk about like, oh, Elektra's here. Is Deadpool here, or is Daredevil here? No, he died. Like, I think that's just part of the joke. We managed to get Elektra, but we didn't manage to get Daredevil.
Yeah. I also like the joke where at one point Ryan Reynolds refers to Happy Hogan as Foggy because Jon Favreau was Foggy in the Daredevil movie, which is pretty funny.
I also like how they're talking about going up against Cassandra Nova, who has the same or similar powers and potential as Professor X, and they're talking about how there's one more person that they're waiting for him to join back up with the team. And then they can attack. And Deadpool's like, oh, is it Magneto? Because the helmet, right? The helmet means that they would have a chance. He's like, oh, is it Magneto? And they're like, no, he died. And he's like, fuck, Disney gets cheap now.
It's just so fucking cool, like to see that like they threw fucking Channing Tatum a bone and let him fucking finally fucking play Gambit.
Like,
so cool.
Here's my thing though. Like, I've never understood everybody hating Jennifer Garner as Elektra, because my knowledge of Elektra begins and ends with Jennifer Garner, and
their version is not accurate at all to the comics. That's why people
but it was
complain
good.
about it.
That's the thing. I don't really care if it was super accurate, because I don't have any attachment to that character.
I
anyway.
remember really being bored to death by the Elektra movie, but I haven't seen it in like 15 years. Like I can't say I did not like the Elektra movie at all.
Did.
But I don't know.
I was like, man, this movie's fucking awesome, and then it turned out I was the only one.
Yeah, I think you're the one person that likes the Elektra movie.
I just realized I never finished Peppermint or whatever that movie was called.
I forgot that movie exists. I don't hate Jennifer Garner. I just thought it was. I get what you're saying now. It's kind of like the joke, but I was just like,
I grew to hate her, because what was that fucking credit card commercial she was in?
Is she Capital One? Is that the one she does a lot?
Capital One, I think. And you saw like 4 of those fucking commercials every commercial break. And there was a point I was just like, Jennifer Garner, get the fuck off of my TV.
Samuel L. Jackson can do as many Capital One commercials as he wants because he's Samuel fucking Jackson.
Yeah, there's the difference.
That's the difference. Of course, the best character in the entire movie is Peggy the dog as Dogpool. Did you hear that? Like, they found that dog because this dog apparently won like the Britain's ugliest dog competition. And they sought out the owner to have Peggy the dog in the movie.
Dude,
I love that.
Can I just say, I love their credits, period, because we've got Dogpool, we've got Calverine, we've got Dance Pool,
Nice Pool,
Lady Deadpool, Head Pool, Kid Pool, Cowboy Pool, Baby Pool, Welsh Pool, Canada Pool.
It's genius. I also totally fucking missed that Nathan Fillion was Headpool.
I totally
missed. I caught Matthew McConaughey because Matthew McConaughey is Cowboy Pool, and I just recognized his voice. And I think I recognized Nathan Fillion's voice when he's Headpool, but it didn't click for me while watching the movie.
So Nathan Fillion completely went over my head. I didn't notice Matthew McConaughey. You did, because when we were walking out of the theater, you asked me if I noticed it.
Yeah, I just recognized that because he has like 3 words that he says, and I love that like they keep getting the actors. Like, it's like, do you remember like Brad Pitt was the Vanisher in the fucking second movie? And it's just like the fact that they're able to get some of these guys in for 4 seconds of screen time is really funny and awesome to me.
I guess some UFC guy or something was Welsh Pool. This is literally the only movie he's ever been in.
I have no idea.
Oh, Mulan.
I've never been a big UFC guy.
Us all.
I know nothing about the UFC or MMA.
Yeah, I don't either. But so one of the things that was spoiled for me, there was a huge rumor that both Blake Lively and Taylor Swift were in the movie. The first rumor was Taylor Swift was in the movie, and everyone said she's either Lady Deadpool or Dazzler. And then Blake Lively was rumored to be in the movie, and everyone's like, okay, she's Lady Deadpool, which ended up being true. Then Taylor Swift must be Dazzler, because she's basically already Dazzler if you've ever seen her on stage. And
pretty much.
According to Entertainment Weekly, an exclusive article from Entertainment Weekly, because it says that in the headline, that's how I know it's exclusive, Taylor Swift is not in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, how did that rumor get started with her?
She is best friends with Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that because Blake Lively was at a bunch of the Chiefs games hanging out with Taylor Swift. I totally forgot about that. That makes sense, though.
Can we talk about the best thing they did in this entire movie? Can we just cut over to Furiosa? Can we talk about that? They even did the fucking Sabretooth has the chariot with like 8 motorcycles instead of the 2 that Chris Hemsworth had. He had so like funny. 8 fucking motorcycles pulling it. It was incredible. And that movie came out this year.
Yeah, they were on the ball with that fucking joke.
That was incredible. When I saw them do that and they had fucking Sabretooth as Chris Hemsworth. Dude, he had the beard and everything. It was fucking fantastic.
It's really good. There's so much comedy happening during this fucking 2-hour movie. I could go back and watch it like tomorrow after having just watched it a few days ago.
It's gonna be a brand new movie when I see it.
It's gonna be a brand new fucking movie. Exactly. Like every time you watch this, there's so much fucking material.
I can't believe this is 2 hours and 8 minutes. I thought for sure it was 2 hours and 40 minutes when we were walking in. I even made a comment about how I wasn't buying concessions because it's gonna be like a 2 hour and 40-minute movie probably.
Yeah, they've gotten ridiculous. Like these movies at max typically need to be like an hour and 40 at the max. Like not to fucking 2 hours. Like in-game can be 3 hours long. That's fine. You know, they got like 5,000 characters to wrap up an in-game. It's like, that's okay. But like most of them don't need to fucking be that long. It's like, get the fuck out of here. I thought it was very so the one of the ones that was spoiled for me was Daphne Keane coming back as X-23. I really like Daphne Keane as X-23. I really like Logan.
I had no idea. I probably should have guessed.
So that's part of the thing that like doesn't like ruin it for me because like I should have guessed they were bringing her back if they were bringing back Hugh Jackman. Because of course they would. It makes sense for Hugh Jackman coming back to have, you know, like the continuation of her as X-23. So it was Daphne Keane and Wesley Snipes, which were the main ones that were spoiled for me. I'm very glad that the Gambit one was not, because that would have been the one that probably like pissed me off the most because that was shocking to me.
I do not know what the fuck you are saying.
I thought it was very interesting to me that they just blatantly did not continue anything from Deadpool 2. Like, there's no Cable, there was no Domino, and there is no... Oh god, what's the kid's name? I just fucking watched the movie. Fire Fist. I don't think they ever actually call the kid by his name. They call him by his very bad comic name. I don't think they ever even give him like the actual character name.
I have no idea who you're talking about. I don't.
The kid, like the whole like story about the Cable's coming back to kill the kid.
Yeah,
because he ruins the future.
Okay, I think I remember.
Yeah. The kid is not continued at all. I don't really care about them not continuing Cable. I wasn't like a huge fan of the way they did Cable. Nothing against Josh Brolin. He's just kind of barely in the movie. The one that made me a little bit sad was Domino. As I really like Domino in the second movie.
Yeah, Domino's great.
I would have liked to have seen more Domino, but it's like they have multiple jokes about like there was only so much they could do. Like what's the joke about like do you know what Chris Evans is doing to this budget? You know, it's like whatever. It's like man, and they finally got rid of T.J. Miller, who probably should not have been in the second one.
He probably should not have been in the second one.
He was already full blown fucking canceled by the time the second one came out. Probably shouldn't have been involved in that. So that would make sense. Let's talk about some like specific segments. Maybe my favorite joke of the entire movie is when when Daredevil. Yeah, when Deadpool and Wolverine
I did the opposite.
are having.
When I tried to say Daredevil, I almost said Deadpool.
When they have the fight in the Honda Odyssey, and at one point they cut back after like a period of time has passed, and Deadpool is in like a seatbelt straitjacket. That was like my favorite visual gag of the whole fucking movie. It's so good.
So, funny story. Then day of a friend of my wife's from work, right? So someone she works with had just seen the movie and texted her something. And she was like, she texted me something to tell you, I don't know what it means. And because I don't know what it is, I don't know how spoilery it is. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know what it is. So I went into the movie not knowing what it was she had sent. But the next day, my wife told me that she had sent her to tell me that she drove with her husband to the movie in their Honda Odyssey. And I told her to reply back, the Honda Odyssey fucks, period. Hard, period.
It's so good. Yeah, because like there's this like subplot. I like that they actually have like a little like kind of character growth thing for Deadpool because he's going through a fucking midlife crisis.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool because there's like a legit what's the word, like there's like legit and kind of realistic story progression, because it's like
a lot of pathos.
With Deadpool, it's how do you make a living when you're Deadpool?
Yeah,
you know, because he tries the X-Men thing, he tries the Avengers thing, like they all turn him away because he's fucking nuts. It's Deadpool.
I love how the first movie is Colossus constantly trying to recruit him to the X-Men, and he gets like not accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first thing he does, in the second movie, he's like a trainee for 4 minutes and then just fucking murders a guy. And Colossus is just like, all right, lock him up. He had his shot.
Yeah.
So I don't think I finished my thought, but
sorry.
yeah, he's a car salesman. He's like, is he like a Kia salesman?
Something like
with
that.
Peter. Yeah. It's so good because dude, his fucking toupee is so funny. When they rip off his toupee and he just has the little staples with like the little patches of toupee hair is so good.
And Wolverine comments on it.
I fucking love it so much.
Oh God. Also, okay. So I told you that there was no way they don't have a fight in this movie. They don't just go full on Jet Li versus Jackie Chan, right? Because one uses swords, one has knives that come out of his fist. Neither of them can die. Like, there's going to be a fucking epic fight. And right at the beginning of the movie, Wolverine gets down in the position that I don't think we ever saw Hugh Jackman do in any of the movies before. Gets down in the Wolverine, I'm about to fuck you up position with the one knee forward, the other leg back, and the arms out. And Deadpool just goes, oh, fuck. And then the claws come out, and he goes, shit, this is going to hurt. And then he loads his guns. And then Wolverine just fucking charges him on all fours like a fucking animal.
So good.
It's so good. I also like every time Wolverine's drunk, he's drunk for approximately 5 minutes because he just heals it. He's like Captain America. He can't get drunk. Like,
and yeah, the amount of booze he has to drink to even get to that point is absurd because he's just like instantly healing from it. You know?
Oh no! Don't. Okay, well, fuck your liver then, I guess. Like Deadpool calls him out on it at one point.
But dude, when they're having the second fight in the Honda Odyssey, and that fucking the Honda Odyssey fight, I think is probably like the best filmed fight in the movie because they're having to like work around the cramped like
the
space
inside of the car.
Yeah, but dude, when they come back and that Honda Odyssey looks like the fucking bonus level in a Street Fighter 2 stage, and you're just like, Jesus Christ!
It looks like the shark from Jaws attacked it.
Right.
The best part of the Honda Odyssey fight, by the way, is, you know, it has that glass roof, that panoramic roof. Deadpool goes up through it and then falls back into the car.
There's a lot of great visual gags. This probably has like some of the best use of visual gags, even compared to the first two movies, because there's just so many of them that and like the scenes they choose, like with the Honda Odyssey stuff, like with that, and like I think there's a lot of like good visual stuff in the last like big like mega Deadpool fight where they're fighting like the 500 variants of Deadpool. There's some cool shots with that too.
Oh, we didn't even talk about Nice Pool.
Nice Pool is so good.
Nice Pool is so good.
That scene when he's using it as a human shield and he's just like,
you're gonna get through this.
When he's talking to him about his don't worry, you're gonna regenerate or whatever.
Regenerate?
He's like, regenerates. He's like the one Deadpool that doesn't have the regeneration powers.
He's just a torso with no arms or head, and he's getting CPR, and blood is squirting out through all of the bullet holes.
Oh man, I can't wait to watch this movie again because I will have forgotten what I do remember, and there's so much shit I missed. For sure.
I love, also, by the way, he goes through all that and kills him for no reason. Wolverine just holds up Dogpool, and everybody's like, stop! And everybody just freezes, and he just walks out carrying the dog.
What's also so funny is Deadpool doesn't need the human shield.
No, he doesn't. He can regenerate.
He can regenerate. He just doesn't want to get fucking shot for the next like 10 seconds as he's crossing the...
Well, I mean, it still hurts, right? You're still getting shot.
It sucks.
Because the whole thing about Deadpool is how he's not a hero. That's what the whole first movie was about. People keep calling him a hero. He's like, no, I'm not that.
You're right, yeah.
So, yeah.
What also just sums up to me, like a quick little like factoid that will make you realize just how insane this movie is the fact that there's 667 fucking photos on IMDb for this.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ, dude. There's so fucking many photos.
I need to go back and watch the trailers. I never saw any of the trailers.
Yeah, I actually need to go back and watch them too, because I was avoiding them. I think I watched like one teaser trailer, like maybe the very first teaser trailer, like a long time ago they released, but I never saw any of the actual full-blown trailers. I was also avoiding it. Also, there's an image on IMDb of Dogpool at the red carpet, and I might have to make this my Twitter background because it's so good. it's so good.
I do like, so these movies, for just being a turn your brain off, let's do some stupid superhero shit, they always have something in it that's kind of really good and heavy. Like, no pun intended, in the first movie it's Colossus, when his speech about there's only 4 or 5 moments. You know, people think being a hero is a full-time job. You wake up a hero, you brush your teeth a hero, you go to work a hero. But really, there's only 4 or 5 moments in your entire life where you get to choose to be a hero.
Which is a great quote.
Which is a great, it's a great quote and a great speech.
They instantly subvert it, but it's a great quote, like in a nutshell.
Right, like it's played for a joke, but at the same time, it is a good speech and it's a good quote. Right, it's a really heavy thing. I don't remember the one in Deadpool 2. I've seen the movie once, and I saw Deadpool recently. But in this movie, Happy talking about, see, like, the problem is you say, I need it. I need to be the Avengers, but the Avengers don't do what they do because they need it. They do it because everyone else needs it.
James Cameron doesn't do what James Cameron does for James Cameron.
James Cameron does
what James Cameron does because James Cameron is James Cameron.
But yeah, like, you know, his whole speech about like why the Avengers do what they do, when Deadpool was like, I want to be an Avenger because I need it. And then that triggers him to have that speech. That was the one for this movie for me. I thought that was pretty good.
Super good.
But yeah. I was telling Chris what I found interesting about this movie is this is basically a buddy cop movie, right? It's the odd couple with superpowers, essentially. I think Wolverine may be better and funnier than Deadpool in this, because he's the straight man, but he's like, what the fuck are you talking about, straight man? Like, he has the opportunity to play off of Deadpool, and Deadpool's already so crazy and already has so many one-liners, and Hugh Jackman has so much charisma to begin with.
Right.
That Wolverine being in this situation is funny on its own, but Hugh Jackman, I think, kind of steals a little bit of Deadpool's thunder.
Yeah, because there's like the juxtaposition of them, that what they're able to do.
That makes it so different from the first 2 movies, right? I've seen Deadpool for 2 movies, and this one gave me something a little bit different.
I think they do it a little bit in the second movie with the way he interacts with Cable, but Cable is just really barely in the movie
and barely has any lines or anything.
Exactly. I think they kind of learned from that, and because they were getting Hugh Jackman back and he's such an important part of the movie, that I think they really kind of, you know, they did a deep dive into the back and forth they could have with these 2 characters.
And what's interesting about Cable is, he's angry, but he's not nearly, he's pretty dead inside, but like a lot of stuff that involves Cable, he kind of eventually comes around, you know, a little bit and becomes kind of human again and has like emotions and like a sense of humor again and stuff. And they do that really good with him in X-Men 97.
For sure.
But Wolverine never really does. You know, he does some, but not really. So I think they had an even more of an opportunity with Wolverine, because this Wolverine is completely dead inside. And because he's 200 years old, like, why would he get close to anyone? He's just going to watch them age and die. So I think Wolverine is a really interesting opportunity to do this juxtaposition like you were talking about. And like, I don't know if they did it well or not, because Hugh Jackman has so much charisma and is so good at it and has been Wolverine for so long. that even if it was bad, he's gonna make it work. Like, for Christ's sake, he says "bub," which should be the thing that immediately pulls me out of the movie, but
he sells it.
he sells it so good every time he says it. He says it more than once, and I don't know how he does it.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie too is I love the way the TVA people react to the ending of Logan when they're like when they're silently quoting the lines that he says before he
like
dies.
they've
It's
watched
so
it
fucking
again
good.
and again.
It's so fucking good. I love it so much. Loved it so much. The stuff they do with the TVA like
is incredible.
Like the guy who just keeps staring at like Hugh Jackman. Oh my god, it's so funny.
the guy that suits up Deadpool, the armorer, and he's like, God, he's really good at his job. I think he may be a predator, but he's really good at what he does.
I had already fucking totally forgotten about that scene. Oh my goodness.
Because they play it like they're playing the same thing again and again, which, I mean, they technically are probably in the editing. But when he comes in, he implies that, no, that actually happened every time you saw it.
It's so fucking good.
I'm pretty sure he made
when they are in the so I'm now scrolling through the photos to just try to remind myself of certain segments I wanted to talk about that I've forgotten, because this movie has 12,000 jokes in the 2-hour fucking span.
You can watch this movie 3 times and still be seeing stuff for the first time.
I was talking about how like they have some of the best visual gags in the series in this. When they're in the Loki dimension of like all the trash, and there's just the giant 20th Century Fox sign that's like half buried is ingenious. I love that so much.
There is if you're clicking through the photos, they do a really good job of, you can tell it's from different scenes, but it's just Wolverine walking out with Deadpool walking out behind them, and like their superhero like let's fuck shit up walk. They do it multiple times in the movie, and there's 2 of those pictures here back to back, and they're exactly the same shot, but they look completely different at the same time. Like it looks badass every time they do it, and I don't know how they do that.
Let's talk about something too that like shouldn't work at all, but they kind of pulled off the Wolverine costume.
The Wolverine costume, man.
The way the mask works, like there's like we talked about it after we were walking out of the movie theater, but like the eyes are a little bit strange. The eyes don't work quite as well as Deadpool's, because the way they do Deadpool's eyes is just like perfection,
right?
And I also think what makes it a little bit different is the fact that
I've been looking at it too for years.
Yeah, you've been looking at it for years, but it's also like a fully covered face. I think probably adds a little bit.
Probably. That's probably why it works on Spider-Man too. That and the fact that his eyes are mechanical.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm sure they're done in CGI, but they're played to have like mechanical lenses that move.
But the Wolverine mask shouldn't fucking work even a little bit.
The suit shouldn't work.
And they kind of fucking pull it off. Like I think it actually looks pretty good.
That was one of the rumors, and then that rumor got confirmed like a day or 2 before the movie premiered. Because so the rumor was that suit, that blue and yellow suit, had a mask that he is at some point in the movie pulls on. And you saw me react to it when he started to reach for it, and I was like, I clapped my hands together and pointed at the screen. Because I knew it was fucking coming, and I've been looking for it. Like 2 days before, I think it's the costume designer was in an interview and was talking about how the first time that he put on the mask in front of everyone on the set, grown men were crying, which is probably most likely bullshit. Another podcaster I listened to was like, why are they doing this? He's like, they spent $100 million marketing this movie. They didn't need to spend $1, but they spent $100 million documenting it. Why are they already doing this bullshit story of grown men crying because of another grown man put on a mask? Like, that didn't happen. But, it's like, we're already pumped for this movie. Just show us the movie. Why are we making shit up? But so that, I was like, I hope it does. And then they confirmed it. And I was like, why is the costume designer talking? Why are we talking to the costume designer in interviews? Why is she saying, yes, it does have a mask? But yeah,
I had completely avoided that whole thing, so I had no fucking clue.
That was the big one for me, was that the mask was in this. So And you've been looking at it the whole movie. You just didn't know what you were looking at. It's part of the costume.
I talked about it earlier, but one of the things that like Marvel did that kind of pissed me off with the way that there was lead up to this is because they did the Comic-Con panel, like the fucking day after the movie came out. People they were inviting were some of these like secret cameos. Like,
oh come on, fuck off.
They had Wesley Snipes and Daphne Keane on the panel.
Why?
So as soon as they had them on the panel, that is how it got spoiled for me because they were on the panel, all the news outlets and all the websites reporting the shit from Comic-Con, it immediately went viral that Daphne Keane and Wesley Snipes were on the panel at Comic-Con.
I missed that.
So I immediately knew they were in the fucking movie because they were on the panels.
How?
And I understand that the people on site for the Hall H Comic-Con panel are probably the people who already saw the movie Thursday night on the very first showing. But you have to fucking know that who you have on these panels is going to go viral on all the news sites and just spoil it for everybody who didn't see it opening day. So it's like, get the fuck out of here with that. That really pissed me off when I had that spoiled for you, just because they had them on the fucking panels.
How soon before the movie came out was that?
That was the Saturday after the movie came out. They had them on the panels, and that went viral because of them being on the fucking panels the Saturday after the fucking movie came out on Friday.
I went on like Twitter lockdown and all that, but I didn't stop listening to my entertainment news podcasts. And that somehow, I guess the people I listened to knew better than to report on that. Knew it was a spoiler because Ralph Garman and Eddie Pence saw it opening day. So I'm assuming when that news came up, Ralph just took it out of the show, didn't even talk about it because there's no reason why that shouldn't have been spoiled for me. But
yeah, I was fucking.
Oh my god!
Just because...
One of the pictures on IMDb is him with the mask on. Get that shit off.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's like we've gotten to a point where they just don't care. It's really really irritating.
Hold on. The 20th Century Fox logo sticking out of the ground is real?
Oh, is it? That's awesome.
Picture 121 out of 667. They are standing in front of it with Sean Levy. And Hugh Jackman has a bunch of swords sticking out of his body. It's part of his costume. He has swords sticking out of him. Oh,
that's one of my favorite things about this movie coming out is if you just watch, there's a bunch of Twitter videos of just like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds going to all the various like premieres and stuff, and they're just having a blast. They had a fucking blast making the movie, and they're having a blast now on like the tour of all the this movie is like a passion project for them because they love playing these characters.
They have been leaning into this since the first Deadpool movie. Like on Twitter, they're back and forth in character and stuff.
Yeah.
They've been doing this for a long time. And God, dude, just looking at these photos of like Hugh Jackman in that costume and stuff. And like, here, there was a photo of Ryan Reynolds in makeup with the mask off and Blake Lively kissing him. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a brave woman. One of my favorite lines, I take it back. There was a short thing that I saw, a short ad that thankfully didn't show anything. There was a line in it though that was not in the movie that I really liked, and that was when they're in the diner and they're eating, and Wolverine's like, "You should put your mask on," and he's like, "Kind of makes it hard to eat with the mask on." He's like, "It's hard to eat with the mask off."
Oh yeah, I forgot about that line. That is a great line.
That is such a great line.
Yeah, they should have definitely kept that in. Yeah, they definitely should have kept that in. I forgotten about that.
Dude, between Peter B. Parker, Fat Thor, and now Peter Pool, I am getting a roster of superheroes I can be for Halloween. I just need the mustache and I'm Peter Pool.
How good is it that they finish the fight against the army of Deadpools by just bringing out Peter?
And they're just
like, "Hey, how's it going, man?" They just all love him,
including our Deadpool, right? Like everybody just loves Peter Pool.
Everybody just loves Peter.
And I have to tell you, I'm so dumb that when he's talking about going out and doing superhero shit with Deadpool, and he even has his costume in the locker, I thought he had Deadpool's costume in the locker. I didn't realize he had his own until he showed up.
It's so good.
But yeah, I love how all of them love fucking Peter Pool.
Yeah. I think at this point we've kind of touched on everything.
Yeah, we're kind of devolving into just talking about the jokes.
But that's the movie. Yeah,
it really is.
It is like just a fucking sequence of Family Guy jokes. And but with this material, I think the way that they make fun of Marvel being on a decline is one of the best written jokes in the movie, because I would agree. This movie I think is a blast. I think it's super funny. It's very hard to judge it against the first two movies because they're just very unique. Even though there's always this through line of the way the comedy is and Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, if you watch them back to back to back, like they're very different to me, especially the third one, because the third one, like I said, it's just a fucking series of non sequitur Family Guy jokes at times that most of them work, and it's fucking funny. Like you and I were laughing our ass off at the theater. It was a good time.
It was a really good time.
That's all you can fucking ask for with a Deadpool movie like this. You know, it's like it's more Hugh Jackman, it's more Ryan Reynolds. Like they own these fucking characters so much that it's a blast.
Yeah, the only thing that brought it down for me was the guy next to me. But other than that,
was there a guy asleep? How the fuck do you fall asleep?
The guy next to me, not only he was I don't know, he was probably 50s or something, and he was bringing like teenagers to the movie, so that was his role. That's why he just went to sleep, I guess. I could hear one teenager.
How the fuck do you fall asleep during Deadpool and Wolverine?
I could hear
you don't want to see it.
One teenager explaining the references to the other teenager, and then the guy sitting right next to me is the guy that brought them. He fell asleep early on, and I don't know what the fuck he had eaten for dinner, but he just kept farting.
Oh, that sucks.
And it smelled like, look, as a man that owns a septic tank outside, I can tell you what raw sewage smells like easily. And that guy had to have shit his pants like 3 times.
Oh, man.
Like, I just straight up shit his pants because it was unbearable. And
That's
I still
awful.
enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it's so great.
Yeah, it's that good. What's with this Metascore I'm seeing on IMDb? Why has it got a 56? What's going on with that?
I've never paid attention to the Metascore.
Oh, they're all 80s except for the 3 that are 30s. That's what's happening. The Chicago Tribune, the Observer, and the Globe and Mail.
Interesting.
Everything else is an 80, basically.
Yeah, I think we already talked about earlier. We are still going to be having Sunshine as our next review. We wanted to talk about Deadpool Wolverine because obviously, I still haven't gotten around to watching it. I gotta watch it myself.
I haven't watched it either. It's a bit.
So we'll still be covering that. Next. I was just saying, like, you would think I would have watched it because of how excited I was, but I was just like, I gotta focus on all my attention on just getting caught up for Deadpool.
Now,
so I watched the second one.
Let me ask you something. This is a bit of a stretch, but does it work? This movie had parallel dimensions. It had different timelines, a little bit of time travel. Has this interrupted our sci-fi fest that we've been having?
This is like a special bonus episode to me almost. So I don't think it interrupts.
Because we had
sci-fi.
Independence Day, we had The Martian, we were having Sunshine next. I can't figure out, but we had Furiosa, but we had Hot Shots in there. So I guess Hot Shots did technically, but
yeah, it's fine. I'll pick whatever the fuck we want. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I would say it's like a bonus episode. So the sci-fi streak is still intact, still going strong.
I mean, it's pretty TVA heavy, so
it is, and Loki is pretty much a fucking Doctor Who spinoff, like the way Loki works.
They even had the Loki noodles.
Yeah. It's a total blast. I would say go see it immediately so you can have as little shit spoiled for you as humanly possible. Like, just go see it as soon as you can if you're interested, because shit will get spoiled for you because it is everywhere. Even when you're not fucking seeking it out, it will find you. So go watch it if you're interested. I
gotta say, if they are going to do a Dazzler at some point, I don't know. Taylor Swift would make sense if that did happen.
I don't think I could. She's Taylor Swift. I don't think I could even like.
She's been in a couple of movies already.
Has she?
She's in Cats.
Oh fuck! You're right. I forgot about that.
She's in Cats.
I forgot that movie existed. Jesus Christ.
But I mean, like I said, I've seen that Disney Plus concert. She's Dazzler already.
Pretty much.
The Eras Tour. I don't think that counts. She's in the Lorax apparently.
Did not know that.
Boy. Because if you look at actress, they count her music videos. She's in 74 things.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you for that, IMDB. If you're going to count music videos, why is that not its own section? There's so many people on this website, it would make sense. Anyways.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, she's in a few things. Oh, she's in an episode of The New Girl.
I've seen that show, but I don't remember her being.
I don't remember her being in that either.
I do not recall. Yeah, I had already mentioned the next episode is going to be about Sunshine.
Damn straight.
If you'd like to follow the show for further updates, we continue the Chris Evans streak, though.
It is true. Chris Evans has been on here a few times. We had Knives Out as well.
Yeah. The Losers. He was in
The Losers. Yes, he's one of the best characters in The Losers.
Probably, when you think about it, Chris Evans is probably the actor or actress that has been on this podcast the most outside of Nicolas Cage.
It's true.
Nick Cage probably still has the number one spot because God bless him, he's Nick Cage.
I don't know. It's close. He might be on here. He might beat Nick Cage.
Yeah,
we'll have to do a tally and talk about it next time.
Yeah. We are on Twitter at SPR Filmcast, where you can follow us for show updates. Ron, where can people find you online when you're not talking about Deadpool and Wolverine?
When am I not talking about Deadpool Wolverine?
That's true.
Ron Sense TV on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Although these days I'm not using my Twitch very much. I'm still undecided if I'm going back to Twitch or not. I have not streamed in like a week, so my opinion has not changed yet because I got sick and had no way to talk.
Always unfortunate when you're, like doing a Let's Play. Kind of need to talk.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm still doing Subnautica Saturdays. I started Below Zero, which is the second one. And Hades will still be Sunday until Hades 2 comes out, and then that will be Sundays. And then I am currently live streaming. Well, not currently. I'm doing the podcast. But the thing I'm currently doing for live streams is Elden Ring. So
nice.
First asterisk playthrough.
Like 3 years later?
No, because I have played all of Limgrave before, and I have seen multiple streamers do the complete game front to back. So it is my first playthrough technically, but it's I know all the shit. I know what's in the game. I know all the bosses.
Yep.
So it's not new, but it is my first. So it's literally listed on YouTube as first asterisk playthrough. But
all right, how you liking it? Are you still enjoying it?
I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. I had just played Horizon and something else when it came out.
You just kind of burned out on open world,
and I was just like, I cannot do another open world game. I just fucking cannot.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And I didn't. I just dropped off of it. I wasn't that into it the first time. I was like, I don't like this. I don't like the way it feels or anything. I have since gone back to like Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3, which is the style of combat I like the feel of. And then coming back to it this time, I'm like, oh no, this is better. Like, this is everything I love about that style of combat, fine-tuned to death, to the point that like it feels really, really good. And I understand it and what they're going for a lot better. Like, I'm using weapon arts, something I don't do in Dark Souls 3. Weapon arts are incredible. They're really fucking good, Jeff.
They're a lot better in Elden Ring. Most of them in Dark Souls 3 were hot garbage.
I have the one that is Storm Tornado from Mega Man X, the one where you just shoot a sideways tornado out of your weapon. That one-shots most things in the open world, and it does a fuck ton of damage to a boss.
Yeah, I
So I'm
don't blame you.
I'm a
at all
hardcore
for
melee
not.
character that can just fire a tornado at range anytime I want. I'm like an anime
Yeah,
protagonist.
I don't blame you at all for not having used them in Dark Souls 3 because I didn't either.
Yeah.
But they are pretty cool in Elden Ring.
I started
especially the DLC ones.
I started a
Those
sorcerer
are cool.
build that is kind of pointless because my stream just got to the area after Stormvale, the Lake of Liurnia, blah blah. I can't pronounce any of the names in this game.
Liurnia.
And that's where sorcerers needed to go. So I can't go past my stream, otherwise it's not first. So I started a sorcerer character though, just to check out what magic's like, because that is the cheat mode in Dark Souls is magic. Dude, it's fucking broken. It is fucking broken. I've got 2 spells and I'm like level 30 and I'm just rolling Limgrave like it's nothing.
Yeah, sometimes the I've heard, I haven't played sorcery stuff, but I've heard some of the bosses actually become harder if you're magic based because they're so aggro that it can be hard to, get your spells out because you're such a squishy character unless you're just like really over leveled.
Well, I also use summons even for melee. I use the Spirit Ash summons. So
he's like a tank pretty much.
Yeah, and I geeked out. That's why I was geeking out at that most recent patch. They buffed all of the summons. So
yeah,
they all stagger less, they all deal more damage, and they all take more damage. And my God, if you were using Oleg, they even did the same buff for Mimic Tier, which was broken. But Oleg is the guy I'm using in my stream, and he's really fucking good. He can solo some of the bosses. And he specifically, they call out in the patch notes, Oleg being one of the guys that staggers less, takes more damage, and deals more damage. Like, takes more damage as in he can tank more damage. Not he damages easier. Like, he has higher damage resistance now. And he deals more damage, and he staggers less. And he was already broken. So, yeah, it's a good time over in Elden Ring.
Nice. Yeah, go check out Ron's streams and videos for that for sure. I think we already talked about it earlier, but if we didn't, if you have a question for us, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com or drop the question you have or comments in the YouTube comments, and we'll read it out on the next episode. And this has been a fun time. I'm probably gonna wait a bit so I forget more of the jokes, but I'm really excited to watch this movie again. I think
there's so much stuff you missed or don't remember. I guarantee you.
Absolutely, they're throwing so much stuff at you constantly that you can't take it all in the first viewing. It's just it is blistering how many fucking jokes they have in this. Anything else you want to touch on before we officially sign off, Ron? I think we've kind of covered everything.
No, I just want a alert on my stream that is just that laugh Wolverine does in the background while he's chugging whiskey.
Is that after he talks about Johnny?
Yes. Yeah, when they're talking about Johnny, you just hear that in the background as he's chugging the whiskey.
It's so good. What is the line he has where he's like, if he's not dead, he fucking sure hopes he is or whatever?
Yeah, somebody's like, no, he's fine. And then he's just like, if he's still alive, he's begging for death.
Yeah, Cassandra Nova fucks people up in this movie.
She's so terrifying. She's genuinely terrifying.
She is absolutely terrifying, dude.
And the implication is, by the way, since she says she has the same powers as Professor X, but the implication is Professor X can do it more mentally. She has to do it more physically.
Mm-hmm.
But they're basically implying Professor X can do this to people also.
Yep.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, don't piss off Patrick Stewart, dude.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for listening. Tune back in a couple of weeks for Sunshine, and we'll see you then. Have a good night, everybody.
Sunshine, my one and only sunshine.
You make it sound so welcoming, and then you watch that movie, and it's so good. We're for a rough. Chris Evans in for a rough time, dude.
Is that song in that movie? Is that like a Dead Space thing where I can't listen to Twinkle Twinkle Little Star anymore?
It might be.
It has to be, right? Dude, if it's not, I am downvoting this movie on Metacritic.
You're gonna be the one.
I'm gonna be the one.
You're gonna be that asshole.
Yeah.
Sunshine, who gets to say that you have an opinion? Oh, man. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Catch you next time.